welcome. In this video, we're going to look at how to combine different mocap data. I'm going to be using animation data from Mixamo for this tutorial, but this workflow also applies to animations from other sources like DAZ, Rokoko, ActorCore, or QuickMagic. Alright, so the character here in my scene is originally a Genesis 8 female from DAZ. I imported the figure using Rig-GNS, then rigged it with the rigging buttons here in the Rig-Matic tab. Alright, so we're going to be using the Mixamo tab to bring in our mocap. Now to start, I'll simply click Get and select Get Mixamo. This opens up the Mixamo website. I have a parkour style animation in mind, so I'm going to download a few related animations. I'll start by searching for warm up and then hit enter. Alright, let's preview the first result. Okay, I like this warm up animation, but I think I'll just exclude this part where the animation is punching, because this is not a fight animation. It's just to show a warm up before she starts running. Alright, so I'll just click download, set skin to without skin, change the frame rate to 24 FPS, and then download the animation. Alright, next I'm going to search for an idle animation. Select this one to preview it, and then download that. Okay, the next animation I'll search for is idle to sprint. Enter. I'll select this first result and then download that as well. I'll download one more animation before returning to Blender to combine them. So I'll search for a running animation. Let's preview this one. I will have to zoom out and then download that as well. Alright, so now with these 4 animations downloaded, I'll return to Blender. Now before I import the animations, I'll split the window here and then change this bottom one to the nonlinear animation editor. So now I'll go to import motion, click FBX motion, and then locate the file, select warming up, and then import FBX. Okay, now this is our warming up animation. So I'll simply click bind to have it targeted to the character. So there we have the warming up animation on the character. Alright, so now the next thing I'll do is bake the animation with the bake button here. But before I do that, I like to specify the numbers of frames I need. Since I don't want to use the entire animations, I want to exclude the punching part of the animation. So I'll bake it to around frame 52. Now click bake and then set the end frame as 52. And then OK. Now down here in the NLA, you can see we have the action here. I will simply now click this push down button to have it as a strip. Now pressing play, you can see we now have the animation baked to the character. Now one thing I like to do is to hide some of the objects in the scene to improve performance. So I'll select this jacket, then go to the outliner and then press the period key to focus on the selection and then disable that. Okay, I probably should also hide these simulation bones for the coat. So I'll bring back the coat by pressing Ctrl Z. Now with the coat selected, I'll expand the Simo Quick tab and then disable the bones here. I'll also do the same for the hair. So I'll select that and then unhide the bones. Now I can hide the hair, select the coat and hide that as well. Okay, now you can see part of the shirt is masked. I will simply select the shirt, go to the modifiers panel and disable the mask modifier to reveal the rest of the shirt. Now I'll repeat the process for this figure. So mask modifier and disable that. I also prefer to have the viewport shading color set to random. Down here you can see my shadows aren't actually shadows. Let's play the animation so you can see. Turn to frame 1. Okay, so these are meshes. They are duplicates of the coat and the figure, using shrink wrap modifier to make them appear as shadows. So I'll select one and then hide that, and select the other one and hide that as well. So now let's return to frame 1 and play the animation. So now I'll import the second animation by going to import motion, FBX motion, and then select idle animation. With that imported, I'll click bind, play the animation. Of course, nothing much is happening. So I'll just go ahead and click bake and then click OK. Alright, so I'll click push down to have that as a strip. So now we're going to start looking at combining the animations. I will start by moving this upper strip forward and then click the match frame. Sorry, I need to collapse this tab and then expand the actions tab. So now click this match frame button to have the frame range match the animation. And now moving the playhead, you can see nothing is happening, and that's because the upper one is overshadowing the one below, but it's mostly because the extrapolation here is set to hold, which is why nothing is happening when I move the cursor around. But when I change it from hold to nothing, it then allows us to preview the strip below. I will change this back to hold and use the blend in value here instead. So by just increasing the value a bit, it now allows us to preview the strip below before transitioning to the upper strip. So now for this upper strip, I'm going to increase the blending value to about 5 and then preview the results. I think I'll just increase the blending value to 10 and see what it looks like. Let's view it from a different angle. We can also adjust the placement of the strip. It just takes a little experimentation moving the strip around until the transition from the previous animation to the incoming animation looks right. Okay, this looks better. I will again increase the blending value to 15. I'm happy with this transition, so I'm going to leave it that way for now. I will go ahead and import the next animation. Idle to sprint, click bind and preview the animation. So I'll go ahead and click bake and OK. And then of course push down. Now I'll move the strip to the end of the animation, but like I said, I like to have it stacked above the last one. So here I'll go to track and then select add. So now we have this new track. So now I can just move this up and have it above the last one and then click the match frame button. Alright, let's preview that. Of course, we need to increase the blending value by just a nudge. Now we should be able to see the previous animation before this idle to sprint. Now for this strip, I will increase the blend in value. I usually start with 5. Alright, I don't want the idle position to last for long, so I'm going to move this strip backward around here. Let's preview that. There's still a slight delay before the sprint begins, so I'll move the strip a little further backward and maybe also increase the blending to 10. Alright, I think this looks okay. Now I'll move the playhead here and then select this idle strip, press Y to split it and remove the excess. Alright, so now we have our 3 strips. Now I'll import the next animation, go to import motion, FBX and select running, click bind and play the animation. We will first need to click bake and OK. Now before I push the action down as an NLA strip, I like to check the animation for any foot sliding. I usually do this by watching the foot that is supposed to remain planted on the floor. As soon as the foot touches the ground, I place the 3D cursor at the tip of the foot. Then I scrub through the animation and check whether the foot moves past the 3D cursor. In this case, it's barely noticeable, but if you need to fix the sliding, then we can come over to the adjustments tab and then click the slide button to adjust the rig's progress until the foot sliding is eliminated. Alright, so let's preview that one more time. Click push down, move the strip to the end of the animation, match the frame, then go to track, add a new track, move this one above the last one, and then nudge the blend in. Okay, now when I scrub the playhead from the previous animation, you can see the character suddenly snaps back to the starting position as soon as the new animation begins. To fix this, we first need to understand what is happening between the two animations. So toward the end of this idle to sprint strip, the character's right foot is planted on the ground. That means when the next animation begins, its right foot should start from the same position as the right foot in the previous animation. Alright, so now to do that, I'll simply have these two strips selected and then click this align strip button. Now under the bone option, we can choose which point to use for the alignment. By default, it's set to torso, which aligns the torso's position in the new animation with the torso's position in the previous animation. Now I'll set the bone option to right foot. Here we have a toggle for including the vertical position. By default, the alignment only uses the bone's horizontal position, which is the global X and Y axis. When this option is enabled, it will also include the vertical Z position, which is useful when the character changes in elevation. Alright, so now below that we have the frame option. By default, the outgoing strip is set to end frame. So this means the tool references the foot's position at the end frame of that strip, and the incoming strip is set to start frame, which tells the tool to move the foot at the start of the incoming strip to match the foot's position at the end of the outgoing strip. You can change it to current frame for the outgoing strip or the incoming strip, but I'll just leave everything as default, end frame here and start frame there, and then click OK. Okay, let's zoom out. So now when I go back few frames and then scrub forward, now when we transition from the previous animation to the new one, you can see that the character remains in place. Let's play it from the beginning. That doesn't look bad at all. Okay, let me increase the blend in to 5 and slightly move the strip backwards. Preview the animation. The running strip seems a bit too fast, so I'll come over to the action clip settings. Under the playback option, I'll increase this value to about 1.5 to slow down the animation. Now let's preview that. Okay, that's a bit too slow, so I'll reduce it to around 1.3. Alright, that looks better. I think I can work with this. So next thing is we're going to extend the running animation so it lasts a bit longer. So now I'm going to duplicate the running strip, but when I use Shift D to duplicate the strip, these two strips will reference the same action. That means any changes I make to this strip will affect this other one. For that reason, I will undo that with Ctrl Z. So instead, I'll use Alt D to create an independent duplicate. Now this strip has its own separate action, so any changes I make to it will not affect this original one. Now I'll select this strip and move it to the front of the animation. Next, I will go to the active strip and take this back to 0 since both animations are on the same track, so this one will not overshadow the previous one. I will again click the match frame button and let's scrub through. As soon as the playhead crosses to the next strip, the character snaps back to the starting position. So I'll simply select both strips and then click align strip, leave the bone option as torso because they are basically the same animation, and then click OK. So now you can see the running animation continues. Let's preview the whole animation. Okay, that is looking good. So let's quickly add one final animation. So I'll return to Mixamo and quickly search for run jump. Press enter. Okay, I'll select this one and then go ahead and download that. Alright, so now I'll return to Blender, go to import motion, FBX, select the animation, bind, bake, and then OK. So now I'm gonna push down, bring the strip to the front and match frame. Alright, so if you don't want to keep zooming in and out just to see the whole animation, because as the animation gets longer, the character covers more space while moving through the scene, which means we will have to keep zooming out to see everything. We don't want to keep doing that because the character will keep getting smaller on the screen. So what we can do is make the camera continuously follow the character and then preview the animation through the camera. So the first thing I'll do is find a good viewing angle for the character, and of course make sure there's a camera in the scene. and there's the camera. So now I'll select the rig and press Ctrl-Alt-0 to align the camera with my current view. Then I'll quickly open the view settings in the sidebar and enable camera to view. This allows me to adjust the camera until we have a good angle of the character. Once I'm happy with the position, I will select the camera from the outliner. Let me also disable camera to view. Next, I'll go to the Object Constraint tab and add a copy location constraint. For the target, I'll set the rig, and for the bone, I will select torso. I'll also enable offset and disable the z-axis. So now when I play the animation, you can see that the camera continuously follows the character. We no longer have to keep zooming out just to see the whole animation. Sometimes you need to exit the camera view to properly understand what's happening in the animation. For example, from the camera view, the jump animation looks normal. You can't really tell that anything strange is happening. But the moment we exit the camera view and move the playhead through these strips, you can see that as soon as it reaches the running jump strip, the character snaps back to the starting position. This is happening because we haven't aligned these two strips yet. So I'll select both strips. Okay, I need to select the rig first, then return to the Rig-GNS panel. Before I click the align strip button, I like to check which foot is planted on the ground in the previous animation. So at the end of this strip, you can see that the right foot is on the ground. So knowing that, I'll select both strips, click align strip, set the bone to right foot, and then click OK. So now when I scrub through the animation, you can see that the animation transitions smoothly from the running strip to the running jump strip. Alright, so I'm going to end this tutorial here. There's still a lot more to cover. I will probably continue this cleanup process in a separate video because there are still several other features of the add-on we can use to clean up the animation. Alright, so let's preview the animation one more time through the camera. I hope you learned something from this tutorial. If you did, please remember to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.